Fortunately, it seems there's a good portion of America who likes it that way. And the testimony to that is all the governors, especially in California, Newsom, who, he just now cleaned up one section of San Francisco down there just so Z could come in and visit and see the streets cleaned. But every other street is full of homeless, drug addicts, needles, and everything else. Z knows better. He's not that stupid. But see, this is the way we have it today. There's Democrats, the Democrats in their cities, the Democrats in their states. They have a lot of these laws that are ruining their own states. So while all this is going on, many Americans support the traditional nation that represents true America. The true America has freedoms, Bible believers, faith, hard workers, and a knowledge of the founding fathers and our founding documents. The attempt to overthrow America began some time ago, and neither Republicans supported the New World Order then. And matter of fact, Bush Sr. is one of the first ones to introduce the New World Order. Now you see this article, and time to time, on a regular basis, we feature our articles that do come out. This is the latest one, and it's on warren-usa.com, danaglennsmith.com, Glory Land of the Unclean, America in Distress. So when we look at our country today, the land of the free is home of the new invaders crossing the border. They are literally given a free ride to the border of America and then given open arms into America, while the Biden administration gives them food, clothing, shelter, medical aid, and more. Now, I read today the latest stats on what Biden's cost is to provide shelter and everything for all of these illegals that cross the border. It is more than 15 nations. The cost of which to run those nations, our bill for taking care of all of these is more than 15 of those nations. There was an entire article on it.
That is outrageous.
And I do believe that was Epic Times I seen today. I didn't have time to read the whole thing. I seen the article in the lead.
That's just outrageous, Dana.
It is. And they don't seem anxious to quit. That's why also the Biden administration brought in all these illegals, because George Soros just came up recently and said, he didn't say, but they said, George Soros and a number of billionaires are working to have a big sign-up drive for illegals to vote. And so that's why they brought them in, so they can vote and give Democrats the majority so they can finish the New World Order, finish what they're doing. So if you want to see what America is going to become like, you stick around, because if the Republicans can't stop them and they continue, there is not going to be an America. And being as I've been warning for over 25 years, and the first time I told Tower about what was coming was back in 1973, we are well versed in what's going to happen to America. And it's happening right now. Even though I knew, I never could have imagined how corrupt, how stupid, how silly this is. Now this article here was written with that in mind. So go to warren-usa.com, danaglennsmith.com, and read this article and pass it on to your friends. So I'm not going to read any more of that because I went another direction with it. But Glory Land of the Unclean is by the Watchman Dana Glenn Smith. And we also have the Warren radio shows are hosted by the Watchman Dana Smith and Tower, who is co-host. The WIBR Warren Radio Websites and Ministries is an in-depth biblical teaching, preaching, warning agency in these last days. We use the King James Version of the Bible in most of our stuff. So don't forget, go to our websites at warn-usa.com, danaglennsmith.com, and read Glory Land of the Unclean. We have a lot of articles on there. We have a plethora, unlimited amount of radio shows, and we have vast archives, so go check them out. All the shows and the archives are over on Dana Glenn Smith. Over on warn-usa.com.
You know, we did see an article the other day. I was telling you about it, about this Venezuelan couple who this man came over with his wife and stepdaughter.
Yeah.
And they're very unhappy now. They were promised all this stuff and they're not seeing anything. They're homeless. They're living in New York and it's getting cold and they are not getting anything that they were promised. It is not the land of how did he say that?
Well, we were.
And so anyway, they want tickets to go back to Venezuela.
We were the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And everybody wanted to come to America.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, because they had freedom and opportunities, but this family is not finding the opportunities that they thought they were promised. And there was other people that are disgruntled and are wanting to go back home because they don't want to be homeless on the streets in New York in the wintertime.
I don't blame them there.
I don't either.
And this was a little more than just one family wanting to go back.
Right.
This was a bunch of them. Which, we can't continue to do this. Now, while the Democrats explain away all that, and while the Republicans don't tend to get their head out of the nether region to stop them, and Joe Biden is lost half the time in his own nothingness, we're not getting anything done. And we allow a bumbling old knucklehead like Biden to talk with one of the most prominent, powerful, and vicious enemies America could ever have, and that's China.
Yeah.
China is not your friend. She used to be known as Red China until Americans became gutless and forgot what our own forefathers taught us about China. So wake up. And Russia isn't a friend either. And the reason they're not a friend is because they wouldn't hesitate to use nukes, and neither will China. So wake up, America, if that's possible. So now we're going to be looking at Sudan. You know how many times over the years we've talked about Sudan?
A lot.
Yeah. And so there's always war going on somewhere. See, there's rival military fractions in Sudan. So, what do you do when you're in Sudan and you got a rival? Well, you make war. That's what it seems like. Now, there was Sudan Presbyterian Evangelical Church, at leastwise the building. It was across the Nile from Khartoum. Now, Khartoum is actually a famous city, and it was the home of a lot of things that happened, and a lot of the early movies that we used to watch featured, the British fighting the armies from Khartoum and stuff. At any rate, so the Sudanese armed forces shelled this Presbyterian Evangelical church. And it was a compound, and they do that for safety, and it allows people to come in and seek shelter. And they close the gates, and you find a lot of these in places in Africa and the Middle East. And this particular Presbyterian church was hit 3 times, and which means that they had it targeted. And so severe damage happened. Everything inside was destroyed. Bibles, hymn books, and that's too bad.
It is.
And of course, they want people to pray that peace comes to Sudan. And of course, Christians that were on social media condemned the attacks. And then a Roman Catholic building south of Khartoum was bombed, and it injured 5 nuns. And a local source there had revealed that. And so you have the SAF, or the Rapid Support Forces, battling each other, targeted the structure, and at this writing, now this is via Morning Star News. I want to make sure I give that, and that's what I have as Morning Star News. And so, I mean, that's always the thing. When they're battling, the Christian structures always seem to be bombed.
Yep.
It's just like, well, let's blow up the Christians while we're at it. And so, you see, the fighting there began. So there's 2 of them, the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, and the SAF. And they shared military rule in Sudan after an October 2021 coup. And it terrorized the civilians in Khartoum and elsewhere, and there was more than 10,000 people left dead. Can you believe that? 10,000.
That's just unbelievable.
Most of those people don't have guns. They don't have anything, and you're killing them. And so Christian sites have been targeted since the conflict began. And of course, then the Coptic Orthodox Church was attacked by unidentified gunmen. Of course, they never know. They always want to kill someone. And then the RSF, see, you got 2 of them fighting here, seized the central Khartoum Cathedral after having evacuated the Coptic Orthodox of the Virgin Mary.
Good grief.
Do you see the idiocy of all this? We have these churches right in the middle, and you have 2 warring factions, and everybody's getting killed and things are getting blown up. Why is it that people just soon kill one another as find peace? Well, it begins with sin. So pray for Sudan. But when you talk about these, they do have Islamic backgrounds. And both of the leaders of these claim to be pro-democracy advocates of religious freedom. Well, then why are you killing one another? Why can't you come... So, according to that, Bashir Assad. There's just so much stuff going on. At any rate, this is reported by the Open Doors, or they talk about the Open Doors in here, ministry, and their World Watch List. And Morning Star News is a good little publication, morningstarnews.org. And they have a lot of information on ministries, a lot of things that are going on that you wouldn't hear about in regular news. You're not going to hear these. Now, if you go on over and listen to our Wednesday broadcast, which this one is, and we've done a lot of them, you'll find a lot of stuff going all the way back. I mean, a long time. And you can find particular battles and many things, because we report on a lot of this stuff. But, it always seems like they want to kill someone. What I think we're going to do, instead of me doing this North Korea one, why don't you go ahead and do your reading, and then I'll do the North Korea.
Okay. So I find this article very interesting.